I believe that Jesus has way more say in our day-to-day lives than anyone else that sits in any elected office, which means that we have to think about our lives through our own actions, not through the actions of some political figure or political party, but it's about me and you, me and you. Now, I know we can be convinced that there are some things we can vote on that influence who you and I are, and that is true. Yeah, it is true, right? But all of those things are so small relative to the reality of our lives every single day. This is what I know about the church. Let's just talk about it for a second. Every single time the church has been overly persecuted, where someone says, you know what, you can't exist anymore, I'm taking your rights away. Guess what the church did? Every time. No exceptions. It grew. So you think I'm afraid of either political party influencing anything about anything our church does? Zero chance. Bring it. We will just be stronger. I don't care if a Republican comes for something or a Democrat comes for something. I've got world history on my side. And guess who ordains the history of our world? Jesus. So my life doesn't rise and fall on the ebbs and flows of a political system. It stands on the kingdom of God, that even the gates of hell, the fire that's lit on those, don't even start to touch my comfort in terms of me in kingdom living. So I'm not talking about politics, though maybe everything is political. I'm talking about me and you. So let's talk about this political move and how we get rid of people that we're threatened by. I put a list together of practical ways we get rid of people. Number one, exclusion or isolation. We just avoid involving them anymore. They think differently than we do. They change their mind about an issue, and so we just don't invite them. Like we're just like, I'm not inviting that into my house anymore. They're welcome at Thanksgiving dinner or fill in the blank. But they're out of my friend group. I'm gonna change the group text. You know, that's what we're gonna do. We withhold invitations. We just give them the silent treatment, right? And man, we're so good at this. We're so good at this. You want a power move? Let me just give you a secret, a social interaction power move. I'm just gonna give it to you for free, right? And man, you want to play politics with somebody? Do this. Allow someone that you disagree with wholeheartedly to be in conversation with someone that you know that you really like, right? Like let's just pretend. Picture the person, because everybody's got that face. Somebody that like thinks differently about you than something that's really important to you, right? Probably something political. Think about that person's face. And now let's pretend that they're talking to someone that you are on the same page with, okay? Now you have both faces. You got the face of the person you disagree with, the face of the person that you're like aligned with. You're like BFF, brothers from another mother, whatever it is, right? That's the person. Let's say they're talking together like in a public setting. Here's your power move, right? Walk up in between them to the person that you are in lock and step with, shake their hand, give them some bro dap, say, man, it's so good to see you. Ask about the family, talk for a second, this and the other. Ask a couple really great questions. Say, man, it is so good to see you today. Man, we got to get together. We got to get together. You promise? Promise. And as you're leaving, turn to the other person's way and just give them a wink and then walk away. Just walk away. You want to make someone feel small? Just do that. They'll pretend they're not small, but on the inside, they're this tiny. Because I just showed, I don't even know if you exist. I winked at you for a moment just to let you know that I'm way more powerful and sophisticated than you are, that I can stand in your place and you don't bother me one single solitary bit. In fact, you don't bother me so much that I can smile at you and still not think about you. We can be political. Or maybe it's not exclusion or isolation. Maybe we just undermine and sabotage them. We discredit their work, right? Because we got a problem, right? Somebody comes out and says, hey, this is important to me. This is a big deal politically to me. And all of a sudden we're like, okay, I didn't see that one coming. I didn't pick you for that, you know? And so we got to figure out, all right, how do we engage with this? Well, now we've got a decision to make. What if they do some incredible work? What if they do some great work, stuff that's actually legitimately good? Like, man, this is good, this is solid, this is a great contribution to our community or to the workplace or whatever. But I don't want to say or point out how great they did, because then people might ask them, what do you think about this? And they think so differently than I do, that we're just going to pretend. We don't want to endorse one thing because we disagree with this other thing. And so we don't want to do that. So we're going to pretend it didn't happen. Or we're just going to discredit it. Or we're just going to gossip about it. This is the way we gossip about it. This is the way we justify it, is we gossip about it and we call it warnings. We talk to somebody and say, hey, I just want to give you a heads up. I saw her hit this like button on this post the other day. Just letting you know this is where she is. Oh, hey, dude, I just want to make sure you knew. You knew. I mean, there's no reason for you to be having the conversation. Like, there's not a conversation coming. There's not a big meeting. There's not like a problem. It's just like, oh, by the way, man, I know sometimes you run into them. I just want to let you know. I mean, they took it down real quick, but I did see them share this, and they were like, I better not share this. So they pulled it down, but we know now. We know. Just wanted to warn you. What we don't do is we don't go to the person and say, hey, here's the thing. I saw what you posted the other day. And I thought about 6 different ways to be passive aggressive and post to you without tagging you, though I know you read all my posts. So I'd be talking to you, even though I wouldn't have to acknowledge that I was actually talking to you. I thought about that, and I realized that'd be pretty selfish. And so I thought I should probably just come to you and say, hey, I don't understand why you think the way you think on this. And here's why, because this is where I'm at on this. But I knew of all the people I could probably trust you to tell you I disagree with you. And I'm only sharing this because truth is, I need someone to share the opposite point of view. Because I was brought up to know I don't actually know what I don't know. And I don't think you can change my mind, but I am genuinely curious. Share your heart with me. I promise you, I'm in a safe place. And even if we disagree on this particular issue, it's not going to make me think that you're less of a human or less valuable to your kids that you parent or a lesser part of the community we live in. We don't do that. And maybe it's because we're afraid that they'll look at us and say, sure, you want to know what I think. Yeah, I get it. We know how to be political. The truth is, we actually do have to want to know how they think. We have to be curious enough to say, hey, no, I really do think I'd love to hear your heart on this. Or maybe we delegitimize their authority or their expertise. We dismiss their ideas or opinions. We question their credibility. Or maybe even sometimes when we have the opportunity, we take credit. We create obstacles by setting unrealistic expectations or micromanaging or sabotaging opportunities that they might have. Here's the one we're best at: emotional manipulation or gaslighting. We cause them to doubt themselves, or we invalidate their feelings or concerns. Let's talk about this one for a second. This is probably one of the most popular ones. So a few days ago, I asked on my Facebook page, hey, what's the single most important issue that's causing you to vote one way or the other? And I put some rules with it. I was like, please don't explain why or what the issue is. Just keep it to, here's the issue, right? And we had a bunch of different people that put it on there. And then some people started to respond, and I just started deleting all that. I didn't want that. I just wanted to know, hey, what are the issues? And some people had one issue, some people had a couple issues. But most everybody had one issue. It's like, man, this is the thing for me. Like this right here is really important to me. Now, let me just make sure we put this in a holistic perspective. Let's take the issue of immigration for a second, right? So let's say you've got a family or a particular person that says, hey, I want to vote in a particular way because I came here legally. And I came here legally, and I went through all the pitfalls and all the hurdles, and I did everything the right way. And man, it's just important to me that I don't want to devalue what my family trusted me to do, and they sacrificed for me to be here. And like, I don't want to devalue that. And I honestly think it made me a better person going through the process. And then so I that's important to me. It's important to me. And I don't want my family's sacrifice to go in vain. And so this is the single biggest issue to me. And this is why I'm going to vote this way, right? And you have the other side of the issue. Maybe you have someone that you deeply care about that's here illegally, right? And you would say, hey, I can't imagine life without them. I mean, they've been here for maybe a decade, 2 decades, and you're like, I just can't fathom. I can't fathom not living with them. I can't fathom life. I just can't imagine, like, my world would be wrecked. And I get it that it wasn't in line with the law. Like, I get it. But I don't know how to. So the most important thing to me is I want to vote for someone who's going to make what is illegal legal for them. And that's the only thing that matters to me. That's the only thing that matters. I get that right now it's against the law, but I'm going to vote for someone who's going to change that and to make it to where it's okay for her to stay or him to stay. Two very different sides of that argument, both incredibly important to both people. Yet we will sit in our Facebook worlds or our news worlds, and we will make it about a word, immigration. But nothing is about words. Everything is about people. And you have to understand that both sides of that issue, those people are enormously invested in their own argument. You know, a lot of times we will hear people say, well, I'm a Republican or I'm a Democrat, right? I have yet to meet very few people, and I've had a lot of political conversations. I have very few people that are across the board agree with everything in a political platform. Very few. Most people are voting because of 1 or 2, maybe 3 issues that they are passionate about. And it's issues that are going to impact their life, and as they see how their life is oriented, like that's what they're voting for. And so when we show up and we invalidate their feelings, logically it might make sense to us, like, well, A plus B equals C, and that's the way it is. Until you involve people and the reality of this is deeply personal, not because of a law written on a piece of paper or a set of expectations, and not because I went through all the hoops and this, that, and the other. It's just people are complex. And when we invalidate either side and just brush it aside like, well, you're wrong, without taking the time to say, hey, explain to me why you're so passionate about this particular issue. I still might not agree with you, but at least I want to know why this is such a hard thing for you. Because the truth is, when people are really passionate, it's seldomly about a platform or about words on a page. It's about a life experience. And so what we see is red or blue really is flesh and blood.